Alright, everybody. Start out today. Did you hear about the claustrophobic astronaut? Yeah, let it sink in. What do you think? Did you hear about the claustrophobic astronaut? He just needed a little space. Yep, that's the stream for today. I will see y'all later. But yeah, what's going on, everybody? I don't know. I'm in a good mood today. Maybe it's because the weather's nice or something, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. How's everybody doing today? I see a lot of familiar faces in chat. What to do, mortals? What to do? That was a good video. Big things in the works. The OnlyFans has begun. Whoever has requested it is in the works. So that's something exciting. But yeah, today gonna do a couple stories. It's actually gonna be something I haven't done on stream before. It's gonna be a narration stream, but it's gonna be true scary stories, which I usually stick to the creepypasta genre for the most part. So it'll be something new. It should be fun. Mr. Spook, what is up? I am feeling it now, Mr. Krabs. What is up? Nolan, you said, yo creeps, you should play Apex Legends. I've actually never played it before, but it looks like a ton of fun. So I should play it. I should check it out. Darts, he says hello, hello. Lemon says cool. It is pretty cool. Let me change this song. I don't like this song. Dude. But yeah, how's everybody doing today? I thought I would kind of do an impromptu stream and just do it. My cats are going nuts in the background. They've been really goofy today, I don't know why. They've chewed through about like 4 chargers by my bed. I don't think they're gonna stop. It's been pretty nuts. Dr. Plague, what is up? Styles said I've been playing a lot of Apex. We gotta play sometime. Yeah, we gotta. But yeah, I mentioned this last stream, even though it cut out after like 20 minutes because I don't know what happened. But all donations now, they all will just go towards just a fundraiser, whatever it might be for the month or the stream or whatever it might be. But right now it's just the COVID relief fund. It's a pretty general one that is pretty relevant. So if anybody feels like donating, and I need to drink water. Alright. But if anybody feels like donating, just donate to the fundraiser instead. So, some good stuff. Lemon says, Creeps, have you done a face reveal? No, I haven't. Maybe at some point though. Axel said when you burn your arm welding because you laughed hearing Mr. Creeps saying he's gonna have a fans only page. It's a pretty good joke. Shark watching me in class. Don't get in trouble with the teacher. That'd be bad. But yeah. Mr. Spook said, can I donate for feet pics? I don't know. It's tempting. I don't know what the fans only will include. Depends. But yeah, true stories today. I guess like the first group of them, I think it's the first 2. There's gonna be like 4 or 5 in total. These are all for the second channel if you guys haven't listened to it before. Pretty much just do true stories over on that channel. But yeah, it's gonna be a total, I think, 5 today. The first 2 are gonna be like just like crazy people stories or like psychos, and then I think the other ones are like based in New York or something. Yeah, everybody hit Mr. Spook with a bonk. Bonk, horny jail. Let me see if I can find them though. Yeah, I got them all set up. Unclaimed 3, you are not late. We're just getting started. We are just getting started today. Daniel Markey, he said good. Good. And I might miss... I gotta check. That might pop up for me or not. Dart said, how come you're streaming right now? I don't know. I just felt like streaming. A lot of times this is when I usually will record. So I just thought I would do a narration stream. Turtle, my dude, what is up? I hope all is well. But yeah. I think I'm gonna cut the tunes here in a second. If you guys got any questions, feel free to ask them, and then I think I'll get into the stories and see what's going on. I'm just in a good mood today. I don't know why. It's a good day. And totally, as soon as I start, the cats are gonna come in here and start like walking on the keyboard and stuff. The cats will try to talk into the microphone. How is everything going so far? Everything's going really well. No complaints. No complaints at all. Can we hear your deep voice? What deep voice? I don't know. Sometimes after just like narrating for a while, it'll come in and out. Dr. Play Guy, not yet. Maybe at the end. Axel said, "Where do you get your music playlist?" This is literally all off of like the YouTube copyright free stuff, so I can play it on stream. I wish I could play like other music, but I think the streams will either get like copyrighted or like they'll get shut down or something. But yeah, so I play this stuff. It's like royalty free music. You probably can just search it through the YouTube library. LJ Ramos said, "Always good to listen to ghost stories at midnight by the nice and warm campfire, not worrying about a thing, except for the thing in the woods." Mr. Spook said, "I'm gonna go record now. Have a good stream, you dingus." You too, Mr. Spook. You too. Nolan says, "The guy that wrote the Wolf Lake series already working on the next one." Yeah, I think he's in the process of kind of getting things together for that one. It's definitely not over. There'll be a continuation. And the I'm a Monster created by the government series will be continuing this week. Could possibly be out this Sunday. I'm not giving any hints or anything, but it might be out Sunday. Anonymous said, "Creeps, did you ever notice that you hit 666 subs at one point?" Yeah, a bunch of people commented on it. It was pretty funny. I wanted to try to do something for it, but I don't know. I guess I was lazy. But no, yeah, I noticed a ton of people did it, or just would comment on it, or tweet it at me or something. Chuck Biscuit, been here since 100K. Keep up the good work. Hey, thanks for supporting for that long. It is always interesting to see like familiar names from like, I just remember they commented like when the channel was like just super small, like 10K or less. So it's always cool to see people back. Darts, yeah, hey, good luck studying. Keenan said, "Let's hear a story, my man. First time seeing you live." Hey, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we'll get into them in a second. But yeah. Daniel said, "Bro, I love the Wolf Lake series, but I don't like Ed Keller. He's the monster of parents." Yeah, I know. I think that's what makes it really good too, is because he's such like a hateable character. So it makes you get like more like emotional through the series and everything like that. So no, it'll be good. I'm excited for it to pick back up. But there will be more Wolf Lake to come in the next couple weeks. Plus, it's interesting with the integration between the Monster series and the Wolf Lake series, how they're starting to tie together more. I don't know. It's just interesting twist to come. But yeah, with that, I think I'm gonna get into reading some stuff. Gonna cut the tunes. and getting, yeah, these will all be true scary stories, so they are not creepypastas. Which is a little different for me, but or I guess for stream narrating in the main channel, but for the second channel it's pretty normal. Alright, let me see. I feel like I'm gonna burp a ton again. Oh, happened already. Alright, just a second. Alrighty, right. Let's get into this. Anonymous, I wonder what happened to the Starlight series. It's completed. It's been completed for a while. Gosh, that was a really good series. I forgot about that one. Yeah, I think it was 3 or 4 parts, but that one is finished. And as soon as I kind of shut the door, my cat comes up to it and nudges her face in. Alright, let's do this stuff. So, first one is titled, Old Man Performed an Exorcism on Me Because I Was Wearing a Crop Top. It's a good start. Alright, here we go. To give it some context, I was not wearing a very daring or revealing outfit. I had on a high-waist skirt and a crop top, but there was maybe 1 to 2 inches of my skin showing, maximum. It really was a normal outfit. I was waiting at the train station. The train was late as usual. Next to me on the bench, I see an old man reading a book that's handwritten in Russian. I actually thought that it was kind of cute. I didn't think much of it after that. We finally board the train, and the old man ends up sitting across from me. There was no one else in our little booth of 4 benches. The first 30 minutes or so go by without incident. He is reading his handwritten book, and I'm also reading a book and just playing on my phone. As we travel, the weather starts to get a bit rainy. After a while, the old man looks up and out the window. He looks at me and starts screaming and pointing out the window. At this point, I notice that he seems to be missing a part of his face around his eye, but I figured that he was old, so he don't stay in perfect shape. I am trying to understand what is happening. He is mostly screaming and not making much sense. I finally understand that he thinks I am the one who brought on the bad weather. It's always goofy, like when the stories from a female perspective or just from a woman. And it's like the first, like, okay, yeah, Mr. Spook caught on, like, immediately. It's like, oh, I wasn't wearing a very daring or revealing outfit. I had on a high-waist skirt and a crop top. Coming from, like, a deep voice. So I think it just becomes, like, more meme-worthy than anything. And my cats are fighting outside. Alright. I'm just sitting there, shot, looking to the other passengers for help, and everyone is ignoring me. I turn to look at the man, and he is screaming that it is because of my shirt. I must have the devil inside of me because no sane person would wear a crop top, obviously. I don't even say anything at this point. He stops screaming, and he turns a few pages in his book. He pulls out 2 crosses from his pocket, 1 in each hand, and holds them towards me and starts performing an exorcism. Parts in what I assumed was Latin, parts in Russian and German. He's leaning towards me. He crosses his hand. Oh no, that doesn't. What a goofball. What a goofball. Yeah, turn my... Alright. He's leaning towards me, crosses in hand, opening and closing his eyes, screaming throughout the exorcism. I don't even know what to do at this point. I couldn't leave the train cart that we were in, even if I got up. He would still see me or find me since it was pretty small. I debated going to hide in the bathroom, but I still had a good 50 minutes left in the train, and I was afraid that he would wait outside the door and hurt me as I eventually tried to leave the bathroom. So I sit there. He finishes his exorcism, seems to be content with it. He keeps telling me that I need to leave the country because the churches in Germany are crap, and I needed to go to a good church in Russia for a proper blessing. I nod and sit there. He reads his book. After another 10 minutes or so, he pulls out a card and he hands it to me. I look at it. It says his name in a photo and says that the holder of this card is... Whoops. The holder of this card is... crap. The holder of this card is severely mentally disabled. I'm thinking maybe that he had escaped from some facility somewhere. I couldn't get a good look at the name of the hospital. I just anxiously wait for the train ride to end. He says that he wants to follow me to make sure that I can keep the devil out. I say no, that it isn't necessary. He says that he will find me, that Frankfurt isn't a big city, and that he can still sense the devil in me, so he's afraid his exorcism didn't work properly. The train is pulling up to the station. He says that I should wait for him, and I say no, to which he says that it doesn't matter, because he is drawn to the evil inside of me. I get up, and as soon as the doors open, I run. I ran and ran and ran. At this point, I don't even know what my destination is. I just know that it needs to be as far away as possible. Eventually, I go into a big shopping mall, and I call the friend that I was meeting, who comes to join me. I never saw the man again. So that was the first true scary story. I can't think I've ever had, like, I don't know, like any true encounters where just like something really crazy happened, or I'm sure there's something, I can't think of it off the top of my head, where like I was encountered and I was like, whoa, who is this person? But like reading these and listening to these, it just makes it interesting. And it makes you think there's just a ton of crazy people out there. I mean, obviously in this situation, the guy was like mentally disabled or something, but it's just interesting, people getting all these situations and stuff. Yeah, that was the first one. And two, I'm so used to like reading creepypastas that I always think like the supernatural twist is gonna happen. But then it's just like, obviously it's a true story, so it's just more like real day horror. Okay. Alright. So that was the first one. No burps in the... I only had a couple mess ups too, no burps, which was surprising. Randos coming up talking gibberish. You know, Jags, you're probably right. Like, there's probably so many things that have happened to me too. I can't remember them. I've like blocked them out. And I'm just like, well, that was weird, and then just totally forget about it. Alright, let's do number 2. This one is a longer one. I think it'll probably be like 15 minutes actually for this second story. The first one was a quick one. About 15 years ago, when I was 22-ish, my best girl and I went out to the bars 3 to 4 nights a week, and generally met some interesting people and made a few new friends. There were a few bars that we hit up more than others, and one in particular where we knew the bartender, the manager, pretty well. We had went the week of Halloween, and each night, their staff would dress up in a different costume. This is where we came across Ron. He was bouncing at this bar, and didn't even catch my eye in the slightest, as I gave him my ID to get in. Until a few years ago, I never looked anyone in the face. I have to force myself to do it. My girl and I hung out, drank and danced and met some people, and then headed up to the bar to chat with our friend. He asked me what I thought about Ron. I had no idea who he meant, and he gestured to the bouncer, to which I was like, meh. He was older looking, very muscular. He turned out to be a major gym rat. I was at 22-ish, dressed in black and skulls and platforms. It didn't seem my type on the outside, but the bartender friend vouched for him, said he was a really cool guy. He asked if he could give Ron my number, and I figured it would be okay. I hear from him the next day and he wants to hang out. At the time, I lived with my uncle and aunt, a pastor and his wife. So he invited me to meet at his place and we would just go have a casual hang somewhere. A simple, middle-of-the-day chill. I get there and his apartment door is wide open. And his much better looking, married and closer to my age friend is there. He seems nice enough, and I didn't feel unsafe as they left the door wide open. And again, my bartender friend had vouched for him. He mentioned that he needs to grab a few office supplies, so the three of us pile into his crappy car and headed to an office supply store. We go in, and as we walk in, a pretty girl walks by, and he does the head thing and completely stares at her, like the obvious follow her with his head thing. We aren't together, but I found it to be rude. So, later in the car, I mention it. I tell him, "Hey, look, I know we're just hanging out, but don't disrespect me like that. Everyone looks, but be less obvious and don't make me look like a..." Oop. I almost swore, but I caught it. The whole time, for some reason, I just imagined this dude is Ronald Weasley. So, Ronald Weasley. Where are we at? Everyone looks, but be less obvious and don't make me look bad in public. He laughs and tells me that it's hot that I stood up for myself, especially on our first hangout. Okay, we get back to his place, and as we walk inside, he says, "I like that. You're gonna have a ring on your finger by December. Remember, we met Halloween weekend." So anyway, his friend leaves. We get takeouts and we hang and drink and just talk. It turns out that he's from the same tiny town that my parents are from, which is 6 hours south of us. He is a Desert Storm veteran, which made him more than 20 years older than me. And he was back in school to finish his degree, worked full-time during the week, and bounced at night and on the weekends. Seemed decent. He asked about my tattoos. I have a lot. We talked about my love of horror and fascination with true crime and serial killers. He seems interested but says that he doesn't know much about them. So I tell him that I'll lend him my encyclopedia of serial killers, so it can be like a crash course for him. Maybe a week later, we hang out again and I bring him the book. We hang multiple times and I even sleep there a few times. One day we were hanging out and day drinking heavily. He says something to me that felt very much like he was getting way too comfortable way too fast, like telling me to do something. I told him not to speak to me like that, and I turned to walk away when my head had jerked back. He had grabbed me by my hair at the base of my neck. I grabbed his hand and he tried to laugh it off and apologize, saying that he didn't mean to be that rough and tried to act like it was some sort of foreplay, but I cut that off real quick. I wanted to leave, but I was already very buzzed. So I just sat there and he said that he was going to do some work. I thought that I would just let the buzz wear off, head home, and never talk to this guy again. While I'm sitting and he's working, he suddenly decides to tell me in graphic detail about his favorite serial killer in the book so far and why. This guy seems like a creep. Alright, I lost my spot. What's chat saying? Creeps old videos where he swears. What are you talking about? I never swear. I think I try not to most of the time, but I think if it really plays in with the story and it needs to be there, I'll swear every once in a while, but most of the time I can switch it out with a PG rated word. That was hard to say for some reason. Oh, burp number 2. Burp 2 in the chat. I think the way he is talking about it seems off, but again, I'm just waiting out my buzz. He starts working on a sociology. Oh my gosh. Alright, I'm just gonna redo that whole part. I think the way that he's talking about it seems off, but again, I'm just waiting out my buzz. He starts working on a homework assignment that is studying urban legends and such. He plays videos with horrible creepy content and it's creeping me out. I realized later that I felt that way because I didn't feel safe with him. I ask him to wait until I'm gone to play it out loud, or to put on headphones, and he laughs at me, tells me that he can't believe I'm such a poser. He tells me, "You have all these tattoos and skulls and really, you're scared. You look all goth and punk rock, but you're terrified." He laughs this scary laugh, and he's really enjoying that. This creeps me out. I don't want to drive, even mildly buzzed. I tell him that his reaction is really scaring me. I love scary things, but I realize this guy is enjoying watching me be really uncomfortable, and he loves it. His face gets completely serious, and he suddenly tells me that he has a machete under his mattress. I look and see the handle barely sticking out. He tells me that he can make me disappear, and nobody would ever find my body. In that moment, my adrenaline hit. I grabbed my bag and I ran to my car. He sort of slowly lumbered behind me, laughing at me, and telling me not to leave. I am stone cold sober at this point. Adrenaline, I guess, and I start my car. I take off about 2 minutes down the road by the mall and just park, and slow my breathing down. I call my girl and I tell her everything. For the next week, he texts and calls me over and over, switching between begging me to give him another chance, berating me, calling me a poser and a fake. Ron did all of those things. Oops. I skipped a part. Oh, Ronald Weasley. I tell our bartender friend, and he can't believe that Ron did all of those things. He's only worked with him a few more times, and they don't talk. Ron set his sights on someone new. Another chick in her early 20s. Her family owns the Vietnamese restaurant and the same strip bar. Ah, shit. Okay. Her family owns the Vietnamese restaurant in the same strip as the bar. The bartender tells us Ron had just started seeing her, and she ended up getting pregnant immediately. I asked the bartender to warn her or give her my number, but he never saw her again. I hope and pray that she didn't get stuck with Ron, and every time I'm in that area, I pray that I don't run into him again. He can keep the encyclopedia. I just hope that he hasn't picked up any tips from it. That is story number 2. I thought it was gonna be longer, but it wasn't really super long. Yeah, that guy was that guy was a pretty big weirdo. The machete is part of the magic act. That's pretty good. So where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Huh. I guess I goofed myself. I'm just gonna go through all these. Mr. Mills, what's going on, my dude? So I think those are the first 2. And now we're gonna get into a few of the New York stories. Get a drink of water first. All right. So this one is titled "A Creepy Man That Followed Me All the Way to Staten Island from Manhattan." Spooky. This happened 4 years ago. I lived in Staten Island for a few years before I went to college there. I was about 20 years old at the time. One evening, I went to Need for Speed, a screening in Manhattan. Whoa, why did I say it like that? Need for Speed. One evening, I went to Need for Speed, a screening in Manhattan. Unfortunately alone because my friend bailed on me last minute. I love Aaron Paul and Kid Cudi, and I just had to go, even if it was by myself. As some of you may know, Staten Island is a part of New York City, but still very far from everything. After this awesome event, I headed back to my dormitory in Staten Island, which resulted to be the longest and scariest trip of my life. When I transferred to 2-to-1 train at Chambers Street, and while waiting for one train, this weird guy approached me. Ooh, that was a weird sentence. Oh no, I lost my spot. We're in trouble. The spot has been lost. Hey Matt, thanks for the $5 donation for the fundraiser. Really appreciate it. Alright, got it. We're crisis averted. When I transferred to the 2-to-1 train at Chambers Street, and while waiting for the one train, this weird guy approached me and asked for my name. I think his name was Chris. I lied to him and told him that my name was Sophia, and I kept walking away from him. He then offered me candy, which I declined. This was around 9:30 p.m. or so, and welcome to NYC. The train was taking forever to come, which freaked me out even more. He would ask me questions like where I'm from, what school I go to, and I lied every single thing about it. He told me that he lives in Brooklyn, blah blah. I noticed another woman by us who kept turning around to see my situation. I decided to sit next to her and I whispered to her and asked her to pretend that she knew me. She told me how she was going to approach to me. This one is not very well written. Let's see. Okay. She told me how she was going to approach me anyways because she knew I was in a dangerous situation. So the train comes and I decided to miss it. However, this guy Chris tapped me on my shoulder and said, "Sophia, the train is here." At this moment, I got the worst goosebumps and I was sweating so much. I told him, "Oh, thank you, but this is my friend and we're gonna talk instead." I thanked the woman who helped me, and I hopped on the next train. When I got to the ferry station, I didn't feel comfortable or safe. So, for some reason, I went up to this sweet looking couple and explained my situation, and they kindly offered that I sit next to them on the ferry. Fortunately, they were traveling on the same bus after the ferry, too. Now, you would think that the story ends here. Remember how this guy Chris said that he lives in Brooklyn. As soon as I sit with this couple, I see the guy walking back and forth by us. I informed the couple that this is the guy who was creeping on me. I almost started crying. The couple comforted me, and the guy told me how he knows martial arts, which helped me calm down a little bit. However, this Chris guy would not stop walking by us the whole time the ferry was moving, which was about for 20 to 25 minutes. It felt like 300 hours that night. The creepiest part of this situation is that when I thought we lost him while getting off the ferry, Chris walks by me. Yeah, I was actually looking at a few of either the new PS5 and yeah, they're like sold out everywhere. Chris walked right by me and he said, "I hope to see you again, Sophia." I wanted to legit disappear from the earth at that moment, and the couple told him off and threatened to call the police on him if he did not stay away from me. Thankfully, the couple and I got on the bus together, and they gave me their numbers to let them know that if I am back to my dormitory safely, since their stop was before mine. When I got to campus, I asked the security guy to drive me back to my dorm, so that I was home safely. Let's not meet ever again, Chris from Brooklyn. You give me one of the biggest anxieties in the world. You gave me one of the biggest anxieties. That sounds funny. Let's see. Come on, Chris. Oh. Let's not meet ever again, Chris from Brooklyn. You gave me one of the biggest anxiety attacks I ever had. Yeah, it seems like a lot of these true stories, it's just like people being creeps. Which, this guy is determined. He was definitely determined. Styles, creeps, do you play any rhythm games or rhyme games? Rhythm, I'm guessing. I don't. I'm gonna say no. Like, what are some of them? Thanks, Michael. All right. All right. So now we're on. Oh, it's another one actually based in Staten Island. Yup. You gotta stretch. Leedle. I'm gonna take a quick break and turn the tunes on for a second and answer a few questions if you guys got any. Well, oh yeah, this is smooth stuff. Yo, I'm back. Being a true Hydra homie. Definitely a Hydra homie. Friday Night Funkin'. That's a pretty funny name. super popular. It's pretty good. It just got updated and it's free. Huh, I'm actually gonna look it up. That sounds interesting. Hey Aiden, how's it going? But it's not Friday night. But it's not Friday night. What do you do? How do you keep your rhythm? Oh, is it like Dance Dance Revolution? That's what I'm looking at, like a article for it. Yeah, it looks like Dance Dance Revolution almost exactly. I used to have like, because back when like arcades were a thing, I'm dating myself. They used to have like the huge setups. I'm sure they still have them in like the few big arcades. But yeah, it would be like the big like dance pads or whatever, and it was like the same thing from what Friday Night Funkin' looks like. But then you could like order like a fold-up one, and you could use it at home, and you could play. And I played that game so much. It was so much fun. It was always like the most obscure songs too. But as a kid, it was like a precursor to like the Wii for exercise, I guess, to play video games and like move. But no, it was so much fun. I love that game. It took some skills. That's cool though. They made so many different Dance Dance Revolution games too. Turtle said I gotta get to automotive class in 15 minutes. That's actually really cool if your high school or whatever it is offers an automotive class. That's actually super cool. Daniel said I subbed and turned on notifications, so I'll see you on your next stream. Hey, I really appreciate it. I'm gonna try to stream more, but regardless, thanks for doing that. I remember there was one I played. It was when I didn't have Guitar Hero, but it was like one you could do with your like keyboard. I think it was called Frets on Fire, which was a fun game. But then I got Guitar Hero, and Guitar Hero was fun. Guitar Hero was so fun. I used to play that, and then I would like get bored, and I would play like I'd play with my feet for like the first like either like the lowest level or like the second lowest level. I could play Slow Rider. Yeah, I feel like automotive class would have to be something that would have to be more like hands-on than virtual, but what are you gonna do, you know? I guess you could learn more like for cars and stuff, like how they're designed or like where everything's located. But very much I feel like it's like a more hands-on approach thing. Yeah, Lemon, hey, see ya. Thanks for stopping by. Do you like Rock Band? Yeah, I played Rock Band was really cool as well. I don't think I actually ever owned Rock Band, but I would play it at like friends' houses. But it was cool. Just whenever whoever was like the singer, nobody would ever actually sing. They would just like hum to match the tune or the pitch. But it was fun. It was like the drums. Yeah, rhythm games are fun. I should stream that sometime. It's a good idea, everybody. Good ideas. Hey, Michael, no worries. Thanks for stopping by anyways. It's got some burps in there. Um, but cool. Let's get into this other stories. I got like 2 or 3 more, I think, and I don't think this next one's kind of medium length, but then the one after that is a pretty long one. So let's get into these and see how they go. So this one is another New York Staten Island one. My husband and I had bought tickets for a concert at Madison Square Garden back in February. A few months after purchasing the tickets, we decided to make it a long weekend trip, since we haven't done anything too exciting together for about a year. We were planning on spending Thursday through Sunday doing all the touristy things since I had never been to NYC. I definitely wanted to see the Statue of Liberty, but everything was so expensive. Luckily, I found a free ferry that would take us right past it. I goofed. I'm a goofball. Luckily, I found a free ferry that would take us right past it. It was perfect. That Friday, we made our way to the ferry terminal. We got hot dogs while waiting to board, looking out the huge window towards the Statue of Liberty. All was well. We boarded, no problems, and got a nice rail spot on the side facing away from the statue, because the other side was so crowded. We weren't too worried because we would be riding the ferry back again, after we had explored Staten Island for a while. As the boat began to dock, the crowd moved towards the exit of the boat, and so did we. It was packed tight, shoulder to shoulder, and we shuffled our way out. Just as we had stepped off the boat, I saw this man out of the corner of my eye with his phone pointed towards me. He was maybe in his late 30s. He was moderately handsome. He looked from the Middle East, like Israel, wearing a US Polo baseball cap. I kind of goofed there too. Wearing a US Polo ball cap. Now, let me set the scene. We are walking through a guided walkway to the terminal. It's pretty crowded. My husband is walking right next to me on my right side, and this guy is on his right side. No joke, this guy was walking shoulder to shoulder with my husband, and he was looking straight forward, but holding his phone up, filming in my direction, pretending like he wasn't. At first I was like, oh, maybe he's filming all the people leaving the ferry. Maybe like a time lapse or something. Don't be paranoid. But it just kept going on, and it looked like it was directly at me. I got so uncomfortable that I put my hand up to cover my face. I took my husband's hand and asked him to slow down. I asked my husband if he noticed this guy, and he did. When we had slowed down, the guy ended up a few steps ahead of us. And I kid you not, this guy held his phone up on his side and continued to film directly at us while pretending to look forward. This is when my husband decided to confront the guy. Mind you, we are walking in a crowd still. He said to him, "Hey, excuse me, but is there a reason why you're filming us?" But the guy just stared at him and then looked away. No response, nothing. Maybe he didn't speak English. We kept walking, and it kept happening. I just held my husband's hand, and held my other hand kind of covering my face. I was so creeped out. Once we were in the terminal, you could either go right and exit to the island, or go straight up some ramps, and we were so freaked out. I was like, babe, we are going this way now. And we walked up these ramps to try to let him drift off of the crowd and exit. Got a stuffy nose. Styles is his own favorite YouTuber. That's the way to do it. The top of the ramps were where the buses were. We didn't plan on getting on a bus. We weren't sure if they were tour guide buses or what. It didn't look like we could technically exit from there. So, we waited a few minutes to make sure that we had lost the guy, and then headed back into the terminal shopping area. It was pretty empty. It looked kind of like a mall, with a gift shop, a little convenience store, an ATM, etc. We stood right in the middle of this almost empty terminal area, while my husband looked up some things to do in Staten Island. Alright, I gotta get a drink of water. Hey Ducky, how's it going? I think this always used to happen. I get randomly stuffed up. And then I saw him again. He walked like 10 feet away from us, still pointing his phone at us. I got panicked and was like, oh, we have to go. Oh, that's not what it says. What a goof. Ducky, where's the cat? I got ridiculously panicked and was like, oh, we have to go. He's here still. At this point, it was painfully obvious that he was filming us. My husband wanted to ignore him and pretend like he's not there, just to see what he does. I tried, but he was literally lurking right there recording us still. I decided to make intense eye contact. Like, I see you, stop doing this eye contact. He then drifts over to the ATM with his phone still up, and while looking at what he was filming on his phone, he pretends to push buttons on the ATM. No card, not even looking at the ATM, just pretending to use it while looking at us and filming. I grabbed my husband's arm and was like, okay, we are leaving now. We went back to the mass of people waiting to get back on the ferry. There were 3 police officers and a canine. We stood behind them, watching the doors the entire time to see if he came back in. If I saw him come back in, I was going to grab one of the police officers, but we didn't see him. The ferry's run. Oh. Uh-oh, what did I do? The ferry runs every 25 to 30 minutes, so we had to stand there and wait. We were so panicked. A family from England wanted to strike up a conversation with us about their vacation that they were on, but I was so focused on watching this guy that I couldn't invest myself in their conversation. From waiting on for the ferry to the ferry ride itself back to NYC, to 3 hours after we got off that ferry, we were constantly looking over our shoulders to see if the guy was still following us. Oh, mystery burp. I have never felt so uneasy in my life. I felt like something horrible was going to happen, and I couldn't shake it. Was I being paranoid? I really don't think so, but I'll never know for sure. Was this someone that wanted to hurt or rob us, or just some weirdo filming people to get a rise? I have no idea. But some man out there has so much footage of me, it makes me sick to my stomach. That one is really creepy, actually. Because the guy was just so persistent on filming. And, like, I don't know, it was just weird. Okay. A big yawn. Huh. Hey, see you, Daniel. Thanks for stopping by. Alright, so that was another New York one. So now we have... I don't know what this one is. Maybe like a driving scary story. What am I checking? Ducky wants to... The cats have been pretty quiet, actually. Like, right when I first started to stream, they were curious. And they were kind of... I had, like, kind of shut the door, like, left it cracked open. And, like, immediately after that, one of the cats, like, jammed their head in and just, like, ran in and jumped up on the desk. But other than that, I think they're sleeping right now. I'm sure they might make an appearance, but either that or they're like sitting in the window looking at birds out the window. That's pretty much what they do all day. But I don't know, maybe they'll show up. So we have where the cats at? So we have at least one more story, maybe two more. I'm trying to find it really quick. I think this one's actually a really long one too. So it'll build up the story. It'll be more kind of like a creepypasta, but it'll be true. Spooky stuff. What are their names? I forgot. It's a secret. I think you guys know one of their names, but I don't think you know the other cat. Maybe you do. Mr. Mills, yo creeps, I heard your playthrough of Those Who Remain. He has nipples. That sounds so familiar. I can't remember what I said that to. Oh, I think I remember now. I was like in like this room. Yeah, super descriptive. And like the guy like whipped around, or the monster like whipped around. It was the monster with like the light head, or like the lantern. And I think I had to like censor it out because it actually showed it in the game. And I said, he has nipples. I have to watch. That game was actually pretty fun. I might do another thing like that for this channel and just play a game. I just have a few other projects too, and it takes up time. That was a fun game though. I forgot how I even stumbled upon that game. Because it wasn't like... I don't remember if I liked the soundtrack a lot of it, or if I had found it through like a creepypasta or something. Because it was kind of an obscure game. Ducky cat reveal at 1 mil. I will legitimately do that. I will do a cat reveal at 1 mil. Or if I do start an OnlyFans, it'll just be pictures of my cats. Okie dokie. Let's do this. Story number 5? 5? 5. Yeah, 5. And I can't find the story. Blue Hernandez, you feel like playing Days Gone? Yeah, I've actually looked at that one. That looks really cool. Anything like survival, like zombie, is always just super cool. And it's like interesting. It's right up my alley. I just need to find time to be able to play games. That's the hardest part. And right now I'm playing through Kingdom Hearts. I need to like play through that and beat it all. I just love that game. Mr. Mills, have you ever played Outlast? It's another one. I'm very aware of Outlast, but I have not played it either. It was really weird. Like, I used to play so many video games, and then when I got into like YouTube and everything, a lot of that, like the time that I would spend in the past, like just playing video games or playing Call of Duty and like doing just different games, it was like replaced with doing YouTube videos. So it's been like a trade off. Obviously, I'm not upset about it, but yeah, it's just hard to find like a ton of time to do it now. But when I do, I just like I love it. Video games are just awesome. Only creeps, yeah. All right, let's do this one. This one will be a longer one. To preface this, I love to drive. Like hour-long drives to nowhere with no destination in mind. Just me, my music, and the road ahead of me. Living in Nebraska, I would often take back roads or lonely highways cutting through the countryside to small towns and eventually cities. And I would usually take these drives at night since there was a left track. Ooh, that was a good flow too, and I messed up. And I would usually take these drives at night since there was less traffic to worry about. I have done it since I've had my license about 4 or 5 years ago, and I'd never once had any sort of issue, nor have I ever run into any trouble. That was until a few nights ago. For reference, I'm a relatively small 22-year-old female, and as I've stated before, I often take these drives completely and utterly alone. They're a good way to clear my head when I'm stressed, upset, or overwhelmed. And for me, to get a plan together to sort personal issues out. I've also done these long and lonely drives to get away from the toxicity of my household when I used to live with my parents as a means of coping with their alcoholism. Though now that I moved out and I'm in a much better place mentally, I don't really have the urge to get in my car and just drive anymore. However, on the night this event took place, I was feeling pretty overwhelmed, stressed, and anxious, with a cluster of personal issues that I would rather not get into. I felt restless and irritable about my boyfriend. I couldn't focus on anything else, and decided, oh, I messed that up. Not about my boyfriend. Around my boyfriend. I felt restless and irritable around my boyfriend. I couldn't focus on anything else, and decided I would take a drive to clear my head. My boyfriend was understanding and told me to be careful and to not be gone for too terribly long, since it was getting pretty late. I agreed, gave him a kiss goodbye, and I left. I drove around our city for about 30 minutes, but I was still feeling on edge about everything transpiring in my personal life. So, I decided to drive further north down those familiar dark, winding one-lane highways. I kept the car at a steady 65 miles per hour, and taking the turns at a slower pace in case a deer jumped out around the bend. And I was just admiring the vast empty darkness of the snow-capped fields and the barren trees. It was honestly a bit creepy being all alone with no cars in sight, and seemingly the middle of nowhere. The few houses miles back from the road, lightless in the dead cornfields, withered away and covered in the snow. It was like something out of a horror movie, and I half expected to see a ghost pop up in my rearview mirror, or see someone clamber out from the patches of trees dotting the horizon. The only light came from my headlights, and even then, I still strained to see through the inky darkness of the night. By now, it was just after 11, and I told myself that once I had made the familiar roundabout, that would either take you to a small town or back up towards the city. I would head back to the city and home. That roundabout was still maybe 15 to 25 minutes away, but other than my imagination picturing the worst, I wasn't really all that concerned. I mean, I was by myself. I didn't have any other motorists to worry about, right? Wrong. Wrong. Right, wrong. Alright. As I'm rounding another bend, I noticed a vehicle with its hazards flashing, maybe a quarter of a mile or something away from me. It was some sort of sedan, dark colored, and was angled to where only part of it was on the shoulder, while the rest was jutted out onto the road. Like they had to pull over in a hurry, but didn't quite manage to do that. The driver's side door was flung wide open, and as I slowed my vehicle down and angled it towards the opposite side of the road to pass, I could make out what looked like maybe blood on the inside of the open door. I didn't see anyone on the road or in the car, and I was the only motorist in sight. The cell phone reception is spotty at best in this part of the country, but more often than not, you couldn't get reception no matter how hard you prayed, which was definitely the case when I took a glance at my phone to see if I had any service. So, a lone female on the road at night, pulling up near a vacant vehicle that looks like someone had been attacked on the inside, with no cell service. Now, I'm no dummy. I've watched countless episodes of Investigation Discovery and Criminal Minds, and read far too many crime books to know that this had bad and danger written all over it. But there was still a small part of me that worried something terrible had happened to whoever was inside that vehicle, and I thought that I needed help. These roads don't get a lot of traffic late at night, and temperatures were well below freezing. If someone were hurt or in trouble, there was no one and nothing else to help them but me. This is a true story, but it seems like it's very much like a creepypasta with the build-up. Curious what will happen. Oh, nope. But still, I erred on the side of caution. I was still driving my car, though a bit more slowly, and as I approached the vehicle, I rolled down my passenger window a bit, shut off the music, and I called out, "Hey, anyone there? Are you okay?" I didn't hear a response. I worried they were passed out or something, but I wasn't about to get out and look for them. I told myself I would call out one last time, and if I didn't hear anything, I would leave, and the moment there was oh. And if I didn't hear anything, I would leave, in the moment that there was reception, I would call it in. And if I did hear someone, well, I would figure out my next course of action then. So, again, I shout, "Hey, what happened? Are you okay?" There was silence for a beat, and then I heard rustling in the shadows of the trees, followed by a gruff voice saying, "Yeah." I was relieved at first, and I was about to say something in response or possibly even stop my car and get out, when I noticed three things nearly simultaneously. As I inched my way past the front of the sedan, I noticed there was no damage to the hood or anywhere else on the vehicle, which I found to be strange considering the blood on the inside of the door. In my rearview mirror, I caught a glance of someone coming out from behind the sedan, and they were making my way downtown. Walking fast, faces past and I'm homebound. And they were making their way towards my car fast. The person did not have any blood on them or appeared injured in any way, wearing a mask. Oh, wait, what? Okay, that was worded weirdly. Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces past and I'm homebound. Comments. Yeah, Ducky, I mostly play on PC. I had an Xbox like One, and I actually tried to play it like not too long ago, but it broke somehow. Like the power box or the power cable or something, like it just won't boot up. So that's sad. So mostly PC, but yeah, I don't play nearly as much as what I used to. I still try to play though. Quiet one, what's going on? I actually thought about getting in more of like a Nintendo Switch just for like party games. I feel like it's fun to play with like a group of people. Just whatever. But I do not have a Switch. I play strictly Nintendo DS. They were wearing a mask similar to what you would see in the Purge movies, and they were holding something in their hand. I don't know what it was, I couldn't get a good look, but from its length and shape, my guess was maybe a tire iron or a crowbar or something. I don't need to tell you that I slammed on the gas the moment that I noticed those things, and drove like a straight bat out of hell, my heart thundering in my chest and my entire body shaking. My window was still rolled down in my haste and the music was still shut off, so I could very clearly hear someone, definitely a man, shouting at me, though I had no clue what they were saying. I just knew that I had to get out of there immediately. I stole one look in my rearview mirror as I drove away, mostly to see if they were getting in their sedan to follow chase or if they had stopped. The man with the weapon was still standing in the middle of the road, watching me, and right before I looked away from the mirror, I saw a second man emerge from the trees that had been rustling earlier, also wearing one of those creepy masks and no trace of blood on him. This is actually a really creepy scenario because I feel like it happens a decent amount actually. There was one, like, I think it was last summer I was driving, and I drove down, it was like, I guess it would be similar to like in this story where it was like a single lane highway. Not, I guess not a highway, but it was like it was either like a 55 or a 60 or something like that. And it was just single lane, but it was like around nighttime, like dusk, and I was driving one way and I had to go somewhere, and I noticed this car on the side of the road, and it had like its four ways on or whatever, so it was like pulled over, and like doors were open and everything too, and it was just really interesting. And not too far in front of it, there was another car like parked. There was like a little driveway to like some business thing or just like a driveway, and lights were off and everything like that. But you could see like inside they had like a light. So I drive by and just don't think anything of it. I was like, oh, a car's just pulled over, whatever. And then I stop where I go where I'm going, and then I drive back the same way that I came. And the same car that was like stuck with its four ways are probably like another like a mile further up the road, doing the same thing, and the other car was also parked, like, and it was like the same setup with its four ways on, and then another car like blacked out, and like people like sitting in like a driveway right next to it. So I was like, this is just really odd, and I was like, I hope like somebody doesn't try to stop to help them. But then again, who knows? It may just have been a total coincidence. But it's always stuff like that where you just don't know, and you just get like an odd feeling. And that was definitely one of them. Where were we? I got sidetracked. All right. No. I probably broke every law for speeding that night, but I wanted to get as far away from those men as possible. As soon as I had made it to the roundabout, I had turned towards town, parked in the Walmart parking lot that thankfully still had cars from who I assumed were workers at closing up shop, and proceeded to have a full-on meltdown. When I could pull myself together, I called one of my friends, T, who was a police officer, to tell him what had happened and what I should do. He was concerned for me, and after asking if I was okay, where I was, and did they follow me, he told me since it was out of city limits, he couldn't do much on his end, but he could get in contact with the local police and sheriff in that jurisdiction to take my statement and check it out. I agreed and thanked him, and while I was waiting for the police to show up, I called my boyfriend. Through my hysterical sobs and panic, I managed to tell him what had happened, not even 10 or so minutes ago. He was, as you could imagine, super freaked out for my safety, and wanted me to either call home immediately or drive down himself to take me home. I told him that the police were on their way to take my statement, so I couldn't leave and that I was okay. But I stayed on the phone with him until I saw the familiar police cruisers pulling into the lot. Gotta delete this part. Okay. Rolly Police said, I came home from a concert late at night once and was putting gas, and a man came up to me asking for help. Saw a bunch of bands near his car with their doors open. Got in my car and took off fast. That is really creepy. I guess it's just like, stuff like that is always crazy. Like, especially people that just like kidnap or whatever. And like, I've always heard like it's really big, like like a Walmart or like a big grocery chain or like whatever, where the parking lots are just like massive. And I feel like those can always be like hot spots. Like if they see somebody's alone, they can usually probably just go and like, if they can grab them really quick, they can get away. And it just happens too much. It's really creepy. Hey, Creepypasta Adam, thanks for stopping by. I gave the police my statement, and they assured me they would go back to the spot that I told them the sedan had been, to take a look, and that they would try to catch the guys who did it. Though with no cameras, and no description of the men, I wasn't sure that they would be able to. I didn't even get the license plate number, though at the time of my panic, and the thought never came to mind until the police were asking if I had got it. All they had to go off of was a dark-colored sedan, and two guys wearing purge masks. After I gave my statement and went home, and stayed curled up close to my boyfriend the whole night, listening to every sound the house made in fear that it would be those guys arriving any minute to finish whatever they had started. Since the incident, I haven't heard back from the police about whether or not they have any leads, and I'm not sure they ever will. I'm just thankful that I'm still here, and that I didn't stop my car or get out. I'm not sure what would have become of me if I had. I still have so many questions that have no answers. What were they doing? Why? Was that blood on the inside of the car? Or just a ruse to get my attention? If it was really blood, did they hurt someone else? What would have happened to me if I had stopped my car? Needless to say, I won't be going on any more late night drives to anywhere, and I hope that I never cross paths with those freaks again. Yeah, that one is a really scary one, actually. Alright, let me see if I can find one more story. One more short one. Let me see it really quick. Let me see really quick. In the meantime, let's do this. One on one. Let's do. Sure, this is light. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. I need some water too. Hydra homies. Alright. I need one more story. Doom, 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 doom. Boom, 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 boom. Doom, doom. I want to try to do one more. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. I believe. Alright, I think I found one. Yeah, this will do. Alright, let's do this last one. Alright. Alright, last story. Possibly. Maybe not. Maybe I goofed up again. Let me see. Oh, I saved the wrong one. Alright. Let's get right to the news. Alright. Let's do this thing, everybody. Okay. When I was a teenager, my parents were quite wealthy. My dad was a salesman for a high-end Chinese tech company, and he would always take trips overseas. There was one time that my mother chose to go with him. She had never been to China before, and there was some opportunity to get out of Hong Kong and experience the culture of the mainland. After a luxurious start to the vacation, my parents hopped in a plane and headed over to Shenzhen. Now, my mom is a pretty streetwise lady by US standards. She's managed to survive some pretty intense living conditions and navigate some bad parts of town well enough. So, I think she got incredibly arrogant here. At some point, when my dad was speaking with his superiors in a meeting, she asked if she could head out alone to do some shopping. My dad's boss was apprehensive and told her if she really wanted to take down his number in case anything happened. While shopping, she was lured to a back alley shop with. Oops. Come on, mama. While shopping, she was lured to a back alley shop that sold a pretty diverse amount of designer knockoffs, bootleg DVD box sets, etc. I'm a huge TV fan, and apparently, she thought this would be a great opportunity to pick me up the first 5 seasons of Scrubs on DVD. It was nothing crazy. There are places like that all over China, but apparently, she chose the wrong back alley shop. When she was finished making her purchase, a legitimate looking cab rolled up and offered her a ride. The cab ride was quiet. It didn't take my mom to realize that. Oops. The cab ride was quiet, and it didn't take my mom too long to realize that something was wrong. The man wasn't driving her back where she came from, and I think he expected her not to have remembered the way to her hotel. There was a second man in the passenger seat with a stern look. The men spoke to each other in Chinese. Whoops. The men spoke to each other in Chinese and did not acknowledge her when she spoke to them. They just kept driving. It took her less than half a mile before she tried to escape the car, but the doors were locked from the inside. The men then began yelling at her in Chinese and threatening her. They took her purse and removed the money inside of it and began talking among themselves. With one last resort, my mom called my dad's boss, who began speaking to them in Chinese via speakerphone. The men were scared almost immediately. They stopped the car, grabbed my mom, and literally threw her out of the car into the street. And then they tossed the money at her. When she got back, she learned a few things. 1. The money was counterfeit. They had kept the real money. 2. The men were a part of the Chinese mafia. According to my dad's boss, people have a tendency to go missing in situations like that all the time. Forgot how to talk there for a split second. Particularly Taurus. He said that had she not made that phone call, she would have likely ended up in a very bad situation. The fake cab scam was actually quite a common method of doing this. And 3. My dad's boss had some sort of questionable but scary pull among the criminal underground of mainland China. Or at least he knew how to put the fear of God into them. She still has no idea what he said to them. To this day, she gives me a lot of flack. Says that Scrubs box set nearly cost me my life. Hey, what are you gonna do for a Scrubs box set? It's the first 5 seasons. Cool beans. Alright. That was a good set of stories, I think. Let's get the tunes turned up and play some tunes. So yeah, those were the stories for today. A little bit of change of pace as far as true stories versus creepypastas, but I hope you guys all enjoyed them. What is chat saying? Yeah, it's too hot in Texas and the drivers here stink. I think Texas is pretty warm. Yeah, Ducky, I've been to Colorado before. It's really pretty. Pretty landscape. Um, Blue right now is out of school in like 1 month. Yeah, it's that time of the year. It's summer is upon us, which is very exciting. Yeah, Ducky. Yeah, let me go try to find one of the cats. They'll probably meow, hopefully, or they'll like attack the mic. But let's check. I'll be right back. Alright, everybody, I found one of the cats. They were both sleeping. Let's see if we can get some purrs on the mic. Cat is smelling the mic. Cat is licking my arm. Cat seems happy. Are you happy? You might be able to hear some purrs. I don't know. This cat just likes to lick a ton. It's strange. And now it's like touching the mic. What do you think, cat? Cat says, gonna lick. And now the cat is sitting on my lap. Cat ASMR. It should be a thing. Cat is stretching. Cat is upset that I woke it up. Cat is leaving the room to go back to lay down where it was probably laying down before. But got some purrs in there, got some cat ASMR. It wasn't too bad. But yeah, hey everybody, hope you guys enjoyed the stories today. Be streaming again sometime within the next week. I'll probably do a lot of narration streams. It just seems like they're chill, and people can just interact, and if they don't feel like chatting in the chat, they can just listen, and if you want to talk, they can talk. It's nice, there's options. Yeah, hope you guys all have a great day. Like I said, summer is upon us, so it's an exciting time. But everybody, I will catch y'all later. These stories will be out this week on the Mr. Creeps 2 channel, so if you want to listen to them with music and all that good stuff in the back, feel free to tune in. Other than that, like always, there'll be a video out tonight at 6 p.m. EST on the Mr. Creeps main channel. It should be a good one, so tune into that. And then, yeah, that's all I got. So everybody, I will catch you later. Have a great day, and stay safe, and yeah, I'm rambling. Alright, bye.